All right, we have our first glimpse of what MLB The Show 25 could look like. This was tweeted out earlier, and it sounds like SDS, San Diego Studios, will be dropping a survey on its community very soon. Now, this is all unofficial information, but I just wanted to get it out there. And for those of you that don't know, this was tweeted out by Showzone, as you see on my screen here. Most of you already know what Showzone is, but real quick, if you don't, they have showzone.gg, and it is a great tool for MLB The Show 24, 25. It's been a great tool for a couple of years now. They have a player database where you can filter out cards, look up any player and all their attributes or attributes, however you guys want to say it, all the way back to MLB The Show 19 and 20 through the years. They got a market flipping list, so the best cards that you can flip at any point and make stubs on. They give out great advice for making stubs. They have all-time team builds, so you don't have to figure it out yourself. Go check them out. They tweeted this out earlier. It seems like a thread of ideas that they're going to be introducing into MLB 25. It's at least a brainstorming list, something that we can work off of. So this is my first time seeing this thread. Before I get into it, make sure you guys sign up for their email and stuff so that you get this survey when it does eventually drop. I hope they are going to drop this survey. It's going to take the entire community giving feedback, carefully crafted feedback, for them to actually get these ideas to come to light and surface. So let's get into it. Here's all the ideas. So this is apparently coming from SDS. Card cosmetics. All right, so new alternative card skins that you can unlock to change the look of an existing card in the game. That seems kind of trivial, maybe minuscule, but it's still pretty cool. So example, if you acquire a milestone card, like a 300 strikeout card or a 3,000 hit club, you can also acquire a special alternative skin that would look different than the base version of the card. I don't really know what that would look like, but pretty cool. If anybody out there collects actual cards from Topps, you know that there's different variations and stuff like that, so I guess they're trying to make it more like a real card. This is just a Pablo Sanchez card I'm holding up, but like, for example, the Trey Turner, you have the parallels 1 to 5 on it, but like, for example, a real card, you have base cards, you have relic cards. For example, this is like a Carlos Correa with his little jersey patch there. Same thing with Cody Bellinger here. So I wonder if they're trying to do something like that. And put variations on the card more than just the parallels. I think it'd be pretty cool. But again, like I said, pretty small feature. DD Commissioner. So now this looks like something more to do with, a shared dynasty of some sorts maybe. We'll see. A new feature where the Commissioner changes the core baseball and team building rules for all players in Diamond Dynasty every 2 weeks. So, for example, the DH is no longer available and pitchers must hit. As a user, you have influence or voting power to help determine which changes get implemented. Interesting. So I'm wondering if this type of thing might introduce a more, selective Diamond Dynasty where you can have custom leagues. I know a lot of people have been asking for custom Diamond Dynasty leagues as well as, and let me shrink my face here real quick. I didn't realize that was in the way, I'm sorry. But I realize they have other games have, custom leagues. I know Madden, college football, you can do like a custom dynasty of some sort and share it with other people. I'm wondering if something like this is going to open up that to those ideas. So maybe a custom franchise for people who play offline. A lot of people have been asking for updates on franchise, and I'm with you on that. I myself used to play franchise all the time back in the day, and I'm more of a Diamond Dynasty person now. However, franchise used to be awesome. Go check out Gomer made a really good video on MLB The Show 12. There was modes in franchise mode where you can change the price of tickets and sodas in the stadium, and affected how much money you got and how much budget you got for players and things like that. It was really in depth. It had a lot of depth to it, and I hope they get back to that. So maybe this is a sign that they could do that. Let's see where it goes. One-dimensional card series. So a new card series where the player has very high attributes in one area of play, while having poor attributes in all other areas. So great hitter, terrible speed and fielding. I kind of feel like that already exists. But it's a card series, so I like that even in this little feedback thing, which again is very unofficial, they're getting into the weeds of it. This is a very small thing, but people might like this. Okay, so it would just be another card series like rookie, veteran, milestone, all that types, but it's called one-dimensional card series. Gameplay visual unlockables. I was actually worried for a second they were talking about gameplay visual enhancements, updating the graphics, but I, for one, and as long as the gameplay can get better, I'm fine with where the graphics are at. New unlockables that can alter visual aspects of gameplay. For example, a pumpkin baseball unlockable that turns the ball in-game into a pumpkin. A golden cleat unlockable that turns your cleats into solid gold. That's cool. It's becoming more like an arcade game when you get into things like that. However, people want something new from this game anyway. So any idea out there right now at this stage in the game cycle is good to throw out there. Again, it's just brainstorming. That's what you're supposed to do in brainstorming. I don't really mind something like that being thrown out there. College Card Series, a new card series that celebrates existing current day MLB players by having college versions of said players. Example, Paul Skeens could have both Pirates cards and LSU cards. That's awesome. I've out of the 5 things I've seen so far, believe it or not, I would move that to the top of my list of things I would favorite for them to implement. I really like that idea. I'm a big fan of card series and card art, all that type of stuff. So having 2 types of card, including their college, really good way to figure out players, where they went. I don't know a lot of my favorite players, if a lot of them even went to college. There's a lot of guys from the Rule 5 draft and things like that, or from other countries, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican players, Japanese players. But the college players could get a lot of recognition now from this, which would be pretty cool. Of course, there's licensing and all that. You got NIL for football and obviously other sports too. So it's like, I wonder how much of that's going to play into actually getting this into the game, if there's going to be a bunch of hoops that MLB is going to have to jump through to get that type of stuff and licensing. So it could be far-fetched, but I like that they're throwing the idea out there. Okay, double X PXP tokens. All right, so new tokens that would allow you to temporarily earn double PXP. There can be, I guess it's parallel XP. They can be acquired through Diamond Dynasty and can be used at the time of your choosing. All right, so PXP is actually parallel XP. That's the parallel XP you get on your players. All right, I like this idea. Everyone likes double for the times that you can't play as much. Here's the money grabber. You would think they would leave this out of the feedback, but maybe keep it to themselves. But I kind of like that they're being open about their communication, that they might implement something that requires money, but hopefully they implement a bunch of other stuff that is free. New perks that have gameplay effects throughout Diamond Dynasty, similar to the current perks in Showdown. All right, so each Diamond Dynasty card would have a set of perks that a user can use or choose to purchase and equip. Okay, so basically the same way that I guess you can, like it says there in Showdown, put a perk on your team, you could also do it for Road to the Show, where you get special equipment that increases like your power and your speed and contact. I wonder if they're trying to do that for your Diamond Dynasty squad. I guess we'll see. Home Run Belt. A new WWE style belt that is added around a player who hit a home run in their last at-bat, lasting until they record an at-bat without a home run. Again, arcade-ish, arcade style. You could call it gimmicky if you're more about the simulation style of baseball that is MLB The Show, and that has been MLB The Show for all of its years. To me, I could care less about something like this. I think it's cool. It's fun for maybe younger players, but I still think it's cool no matter how old you are. Again, though, we have tons of other baseball games, believe it or not. You got RBI Baseball, Super Mega Baseball. You could go back to, Super Mario Baseball. Not a lot of those games are getting made anymore, but they might make a comeback. And those are the arcade-type baseball games that we rely on for that stuff. And we kind of rely on MLB The Show to be like the simulation real game. But with the recent, communication from our community saying we want new stuff, I see why they're brainstorming things like this. So I don't really mind it, but I'm not really sold on it, really. All right, next on the thread, again from Showzone. Go give them a follow if you haven't already. Rogue Card Series. It looks like a new card series where the card starts at a low overall, slowly upgrades by completing missions with the player. Okay. Once all the missions are completed, the card increases by 1 overall, and then a new set of missions becomes available to complete and do the process over again. So we actually had something like this. I think the last time we had something like this was MLB The Show 19. If anyone has played that, there was something similar to this where you could do missions specifically for a player and get upgrades for their card. And it works in the same way as Parallels. When you get PXP for your player, you obviously get more progress to another parallel level. And the benefits of Parallels are getting 1 overall point each parallel you get. So you can get up to 5 total attribute points across every attribute category if you get your player to a 5 parallel or superfractor. This seems like a very similar thing. However, instead of doing general missions and general PXP grinding, it looks like it's going to be specific missions, and they're going to be sets of them. So once you do the set, you get a new set of missions. That could be pretty fun. I'm assuming most of them are going to be moments, and I think a lot of the community agrees that they would rather do moments than things like Conquest and mini seasons. Those seem to be the less popular ones. However, there's a large part of the community that does enjoy Conquest and mini seasons, so I don't think they'll get rid of them. I think they just want to look to add something like this for those who like doing missions and moments. I really like this idea. I would move it to number 2 out of everything I've seen so far. All right, PSA Grading. This sounds pretty cool. As a person who recently got into card collecting like 2 or 3 years ago when COVID was happening and all that, I now know what PSA grading is. This is pretty cool. Rare new versions of player cards that have similar attributes or attributes to the base card but have special card art. All right, so a signature or embedded piece of the player's jersey, like I was just talking about. So you have the Cody Bellinger relic card right here, right? So game-used memorabilia, wooden bats, kind of like embedded in the card, part of their jersey, cleats, things like that, batting gloves, all that. And then serialized, so like a serial number, limited quantities. Okay, that's actually really cool. So like a 1 out of 1 card, or a card numbered to 100, 200, numbered to 50, so more rare quantities of these cards. The items will become scarce and high in demand for collectors in Diamond Dynasty. That's actually awesome. That's definitely my top 3 out of all these ideas I've seen so far. I'm just kind of doing this on the fly as I go. But yeah, like I said, as someone who collects cards, and if you don't know what PSA grading is, PSA is Professional Sports Authenticator. There you go. So if you've ever seen a slab with a card in it in a hard plastic case, basically it's going to look like this. That's PSA's grading case, and there are other graders out there. PSA is kind of like the standard, top grader out there. So I think that's pretty cool. Prop belts, a new feature where you can make predictions on real life baseball events for rewards. Home run derby prop bets where users select I already see the gambling influence here, where users select who they think will win, and if they are correct, they can earn stubs or a really good version of the player that they bet on. I like that they put bet in quotes right there in parentheses, or in quotation marks, because it's not actual betting. We just want to make sure we're just, I guess you're betting your stubs, or you're just guessing, and maybe you get free stubs if you get it right. That's pretty cool. It's just like a bonus, right? There's no downside to that. So prop bets, morally, the only thing for me now that I'm like an old is just influencing that betting culture to anyone who plays this game. Even if you're a kid, especially, it's kind of weird to me. But as someone who plays this game as an individual, I like the idea. Icon challenges, new gameplay challenges with unconventional requirements. For example, hit 100 triples, tally 10 home runs with players with less than 40 power, etc. We saw a little bit of that with the captains we had this year. Remember, a lot of the cornerstone captains from MLB The Show 24 had requirements to meet that captain boost that required a player to have less than a certain attribute point or more than. For example, I believe the Nolan Arenado one had something to do with speed below 45. Byron Buxton had to do with hitters with like 65 vision or below. And then O'Neal Cruz was one of the ones that went above, so you had to have 90 arm strength or more. So I think that's pretty cool, and this seems like... all right, so it says you can complete to earn vanity items such as profile badges, icons, uniforms, bat skins, or socks. So there's a lot of the secondary things that a lot of people don't really always enjoy grinding for the whole season, but it could be cool. So icon challenges, if you're into icons and all that stuff, there's new ways to get them. Might not be for everyone, but it's something new. All right. On to the next one. I think this is the last one. I saw this. I saw a glimpse of it, and I didn't read it yet. But online mini seasons sounds like a great idea. So a new way to play mini seasons mode that allows you to join your friends or a random league to compete in an online mini season. Teams are created via fantasy draft, and trades are allowed. Yeah, I mean, that sounds perfect. It sounds like a really good way to just inject a new online game mode immediately. Take one that you already have, basically make it a shared Basically you're taking an offline grinding method that a lot of people use to get stubs, cards, PXP points, and just turn it into an online game mode, or offer it as an online game mode, and make it shareable so you can play with your friends or against your friends. I don't know everything about it yet. This is all we're getting. I think it's a great idea. I don't think anyone would really object to that. So I'm down. Clubs. Seems like more of the building off of what I just talked about, the shared dynasties, shared franchise. A social group within Diamond Dynasty where you can collaborate with club members on missions and compete against other clubs for rewards. That sounds awesome. I'm moving that to number 1. Imagine you get you and maybe just a couple of other people who play the game, whether they're your actual, personal friends or people you meet online in the Twitch community, YouTube, all that, and you create a Diamond Dynasty club, and then there's rewards for winning the league that you're in. That seems awesome. Seems like a really good way to actually engage with other people in the community and the game, rather than just doing the same thing every other week, just trying to grind to get cards, win ranked games, and go up the rankings and play BR and events to get cards. This seems like a really good idea to actually have people, come back to the game after weeks of not playing and have a lot of fun. Or if they're playing all year, they can switch up from grinding, offline to get cards, online to get ranking and cards, and then going to something like this where it's shared clubs or online mini seasons to actually play, collaborate, and have fun with each other. I think it's a great idea. This needs to be number 1 on the list for them as well. Now, before I read this next one, all the stuff we mentioned about the shared dynasty and mini seasons and franchise, if they do all that, we just got to make sure, as like a community, we realize it's their first year doing it. We should be grateful that they implement it in the first place. We got to remember, when they put in co-op to the game, I think it was last year, 2023, it did not run smooth, and it's not running much smoother this year, but it's better. It's definitely better than last year, I can say that, and it's not perfect. It's going to get better if they just keep working on it. And I think anything they implement first year, it's not always going to be perfect. So we just got to give it a chance. I hope they don't do something like EA has done with a lot of their games and implementing new game modes where they just fudge it to get it in the game and excite people, and then don't really keep up maintenance on the servers, don't keep up maintenance on all the things that make it fun and exciting to play. But we'll give them a chance. Or I'm going to give them a chance at least. DD Stat Tracker, a new feature where cards from packs will have a chance to have one of their stats be tracked for the lifetime of the card and displayed on the front of the card. All right, for example, a card could have a home run stat tracker displayed on it, which could increment each time the player hits a home run. That's really cool. That's awesome. So if you get to choose the stat that shows on your player's card, for example, home runs, when they come up to plate, your opponent can see how many home runs just by looking at the card art. And then it kind of makes your player that you earned in the game a little more unique. So everyone's going to have the same card, but with this, your card's going to have by the end of the game cycle, 80 to 100 home runs on it. And if you did that with a player, low power or something, it's pretty cool. And it's kind of a flex. So that's pretty cool. Another small thing, and that goes into the design of the cards and the game and everything. I love it though. So that's all the stuff that makes the game pretty cool to me, is the art and everything. All right, I think this is the last one. Team Affinity Attribute Multiplier. So a new attribute boost that activates if a player is showing affinity towards their favorite team. So example, equipped with their favorite team's bat skin, playing at their favorite team's stadium, etc. So I'm assuming their uniforms too. These boosts may apply to all attributes or be designated to a specific attribute. All of these ideas so far, they just seem like a nice bonus. If they can get even a quarter of these into the game next year, I think it'll be enough to bring people back. Now, as long as a part of that quarter, 25% of these ideas that we went over, includes one of those new game modes, online game modes where you can play with your friends and stuff, I think that's the most important thing. All these other designs and little things, I think it's really cool. I wouldn't mind it. I feel like they do that already. The little things, they matter to people, but if it's small enough, they can always change it. We've seen them make changes throughout the year and stay on top of things. I think SDS, believe it or not, does a really good job of engaging with their community in the middle of a game cycle compared to EA Sports, 2K, things like that. So I think we're in good hands when we see things like this. It means they're listening and they're trying. Hopefully it gets better, man. Let me know in the comments what you think of this thread. If you see anything else out there besides what you saw here today, please drop it in the comments. Let me know where to go to find that. And if you want me to make a video on it for coverage, look out for your emails. If you're not on the SDS like email chain, the scouting report, maybe consider signing up for it if you're interested in 2025. And you'll get these emails about the survey, because you're going to want to complete the survey if you want to have your input counted on this. So again, this was brought to you by ShowZone. Ignore the ad. I don't have the pro version. I might get it. I don't know. Maybe next year. Go ahead and check them out. Check out their Twitter. They're staying on top of the ball. And let me know what you think in the comments. All right, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one.